Hello and welcome to ScaleUp Radio Shorts, brought to you by Smart 90, the 90-day system based on what over 500 entrepreneur interviews have taught us. The founders who scale choose less and deliver all of it. I'm Kevin Brent.
And I'm Louise Blunt. Together, as the originators of Smart 90, we spend a lot of time talking to founders, leaders, and ambitious business owners about what it really takes to scale a company without losing your sanity or your life in the process.
That's right, Louise. Every month on ScaleUp Radio, we dive deep into the real-world experiences of entrepreneurs across all kinds of sectors. And today, we're taking a close look at this month's theme, aligning personal goals with business goals.
It's a topic that sounds simple on the surface, but when you dig into our guest interviews, you quickly realize it's where almost every founder stumbles at some point. Ask most business owners why they started in the first place, and the answer is almost always personal. They wanted control over their time, freedom to build something meaningful, or a specific lifestyle for their family.
Yet ask those same owners 5 or 10 years in whether the business is actually delivering on the original intent, and you get some very uncomfortable answers. The revenue may be higher, the team has expanded, but somewhere along the line, the business started making demands on them that they never signed up for.
So today, we're unpacking why that drift happens, what our guests on ScaleUp Radio have learned about fixing it, and the practical frameworks you can use right now to make sure your business is serving your life, not the other way around.
Louise, let's start with one of the most insightful quotes from our interviews on this topic, coming from Gulliver Burns. Gulliver put his finger right on the core trap that so many founders fall into. He said, "The trap you're talking about is assuming that bigger will mean more cash at the end of the day. Bigger will answer all of the problems that my business has." That is the trap, isn't it?
It really is. There's this persistent assumption that if the business just grows, if we get bigger clients, a bigger team, more revenue, then every personal problem, every time constraint, and every cash issue will magically resolve itself. But as Gulliver pointed out later in his interview, growth for its own sake often just adds operational complexity. His alternative reframe was brilliant. It is about scaling your personal wealth.
That reframe is so powerful. Scale the business as much as you need to in order to produce the personal outcome that you want. And some of the most content ScaleUp Radio guests did exactly this. Once you decide what the personal outcome actually is, then the right scale for the business tends to reveal itself.
Which brings us to another fantastic guest, Graham Tennick from Tennick Accountants. Graham shared how his practice runs planning conversations, and the sequence he uses is crucial. He doesn't start with business revenue targets. He starts with the person.
I love Graham's 2-question framework. Simply, he asks, what does success look like personally to you 12 months from now? And the second question is, what does success look like to you in business 12 months from now?
And the order is everything. If you set your business goals first and then try to fit your personal life around them, you'll spend your whole career bending your life around the business. But if you define the personal goals first, the business becomes a tool to support your life rather than a taskmaster.
As Graham put it, if you just ask yourself that question and reverse engineer the plan, which might help you ultimately achieve that, you have got the starting point. That reverse engineering step is the key move. You establish the personal picture 12 months out. Figure out what business metrics, revenue, profit, free time, team capability are needed to support it, and then break that down into what needs to happen this quarter.
Now, Kevin, setting goals in the right order is step one. But in this month's theme, our guests also dug into a second, much deeper layer, alignment. Specifically, the gap between what business owners say they value and how they actually behave day to day.
This is where Megan Robinson from eLeader Experience raised a really challenging point. She said, the more uncomfortable question is really, are you acting and behaving in a manner that aligns with that?
That question hits home for a lot of leaders. If you claim that you value your team's work-life balance, but you're sending late-night emails and micromanaging every detail, or if you say you care about quality work but take on more client load than your team can deliver, your staff see the actions, not the words.
Exactly. Megan Stachini from Intrinsic Meters joined us on the show as well, and she explained the direct cost of that disconnect. She pointed out that there's a huge gap in trust between staff and leadership when leaders say one thing and act another way. And Megan added something fundamental. You are your business, right? And if it does not really resonate with you, you are going to attract the wrong things because there is going to be a misalignment somewhere.
So how do we guard against that misalignment? Julie Begbie from the Happy Business Company gave us a great perspective on keeping motivation alive through the tough times. Julie asked, "What is the big dream? What is the thing that lights you up enough to make you do all the things that you have to do to get there?"
Julie noted that when you settle for just enough, it becomes exhausting to keep yourself motivated because you constantly have to push yourself. You need a genuine ambition that excites you.
And Peter Rimmer from Tusk Consulting linked that big dream directly to what he calls the owner's end game. Peter observed that being able to answer what the business looks like when it has done its job helps you figure out the right way forward. He noted, because sometimes people think growth is important, but why? If growth isn't serving a clear end game, it's just noise.
Now, everything we've talked about regarding personal alignment applies just as strongly to your team. Every single employee joined your company for their own personal reasons and has their own life trajectory. High-performing teams are those where the individual's personal goals broadly align with the direction of the business.
When that alignment drifts and nobody notices, people quietly disengage. The good news is that in Smart 90 and the wider Entrepreneurial ScaleUp System, we use practical tools to make these conversations a regular habit rather than an awkward annual review.
The first tool is the balance wheel. Developed with our friends at County Battery of Nottingham, it's a monthly check-in across 8 key areas of life: family, relationships, career, health, money, personal growth, fun and social, and physical environment.
What makes the balance wheel so effective is that it intentionally crosses the line between work and home. If a team member is dealing with a health issue, money worries, or family stress, they don't leave that at the front door. Giving them space to score those areas out of 10 and choose one small personal action item creates a culture of genuine empathy and engagement.
The second tool is the bucket list. Every team member lists the major personal goals they want to achieve. Running a marathon, taking a family holiday, learning an instrument, or buying a home. When a manager knows what their people care about outside of work and actively supports them, retention rockets.
To keep the momentum going week to week, leaders run a start, stop, continue check-in with at least one team member every week. 3 simple questions. What should we start doing? What should we stop doing? What should we continue doing? The outcomes are then fed straight into the weekly leadership meeting.
And quarterly, instead of a dry performance review, leaders conduct quarterly retention interviews with key team members. It's a 30-minute conversation focused entirely on how happy they are, what support they need, and whether their personal situation has changed.
Now, Kevin, what happens when an owner holds one of these conversations and hears something unexpected, like a key employee admitting they want to go traveling in 18 months or that they're feeling overwhelmed?
That's the moment where many owners panic and try to shut the conversation down. But as this month's theme highlights, your job isn't to fix or judge. The right response is to acknowledge what they've shared, thank them for their honesty, and ask what would help. Finding out 18 months in advance that someone wants to travel gives you plenty of time to plan a smooth handover, whereas finding out via a sudden resignation letter gives you 6 days.
So true. To pull all of this together, then we use the kind of 4 horizons framework, and it maps personal and business ambitions across 4 distinct levels. Firstly, the life picture, the sort of 3 to 10 years, the big dream for your family, health, wealth, and lifestyle. Secondly, the next stepping stone, the 3 to 5 year picture, what the business needs to look like at the next base camp, if you like. And then thirdly, the 12-month goals, personal and business goals set side by side. And then lastly, the quarterly rocks, the 3 to 5 critical actions in your 90-day plan.
We saw a great worked example of this in our theme materials featuring Sarah, a 47-year-old founder of a 14-person engineering consultancy. And Sarah's 5-year life picture was simple: be off the tools by age 52 and take 2 long walking trips a year.
And look how that reverse chained down. Being off the tools by 52 meant her 3-year stepping stone was hiring an operations director. Her 12-month goal was writing the spec and searching for that director, while reducing her working week from 6 days to 4.5, and her quarterly rock, writing the job spec, blocking Friday afternoons for planning, and booking her walking trip in September. If you're listening today and wondering how to start, and in theme materials, we tease this out, we recommend setting aside a 90-minute focus session for yourself. Block out 90 minutes, put your phone on silent, and work through 6 steps. Start with your personal picture, maybe just a quarter of an hour. Write what a great 12 months looks like personally for you. Then your business requirements, maybe another 15 minutes. Define what the business must deliver in revenue, profit, and hours to support that life. Then look at the alignment audit, another 15 minutes. Check your stated values against your recent decision. And then your quarter rocks, set 3 to 5 rocks, ensuring at least one is personal. And then your team gap analysis, you might want 20 minutes for that. Review what you know about your key team members' personal goals, and then wrap it up by building the rhythm. That might take you 10 minutes. Get the balance wheel check-ins and the quarterly retention conversations into the diary.
Every quarterly rock was directly traceable back to something Sarah personally wanted. When rocks aren't traceable back to personal desire, they quietly gather dust. It's all about resetting that connection between what you want from life and what your business is delivering. Set personal goals first, reverse engineer the business requirements, and ensure your team's alignment is handled with the same care.
Remember, you can listen to all the full guest interviews that we've referenced today, including Gulliver Burns, Graham Tennick, Megan Robinson, Megan Stachini, Judy Begbie and Peter Rimmer, simply by searching for ScaleUp Radio. You can go to smart90.co.uk/scaleup-radio, and you can then search and look for any episode that you like. And while you're there, make sure you hit follow, and then you won't miss any future episodes.
And before we wrap up today's episode, I want to leave you with a final thought, and that's most founders that we speak to feel busy but stuck, plenty happening, no real clarity on what matters this quarter. And here's what more than 500 interviews on this show on ScaleUp Radio have taught me, and that's the founders who scale choose less and deliver all of it rather than choosing more and delivering some or none of it. And that's what the G90 Summit is for. It's a structured half day where we cut through everything competing for our attention, agree the 3 to 5 things that really must happen in the next 90 days, and build the rhythm to make sure that they do happen. It's quarterly, it's virtual, it's £97, smart90.co.uk/summit.
Thanks for tuning in to ScaleUp Radio Shorts. We'll see you next time.